Okay, 7:30. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our first ever Zoom webinar by Fortuna for the vlog. And fortunately or unfortunately for some of you guys who had not had a chance to register, that we have today's session full house. But no worries because you can still have live streaming of us through our YouTube channel, thefortuna.co. And for those of you guys already joined our Zoom, you can always raise your hands and ask questions to our special guest today. I'm gonna start the video from me talking. I'm Sasa Ratna Puspita. So I'm the CCO of Fortuna. Before I start, I would like to explain you a little bit about what is Fortuna and what is the Pot of Luck. The pot of luck itself just born like last week, and that's why we are so excited that in today webinar is full house. Thank you so much for joining. Fortuna, if some of you already know, it was Fortune Indonesia for more than 49 years, and since last year we decided to revamp ourselves to be global minded, Indonesian rooted, because we know best of our market, but at the same time we keep ourselves up to date to the international standard. And Port of Luck itself coming from the name, because at first we are fortune means luck, and because we embrace our Indonesianness, we become Fortuna, the source of luck. So Port of Luck means all the good luck meets and melts. And who are we invited to Port of Luck is all the game changers and challengers who progress. And that's also why this is a perfect time for us to launch Port of Luck, because in this time of crisis, Fortuna decided to push forwards instead of stopping. So you're lucky in this Port of Luck Volume 2. We have a special guest with the topic of the survivors. Our special guest is one of those game changers in the industry. So if you are aware of advertising industry, you must know him. He's Carlos Andres Rodriguez Monroy, which I'm so lucky that he's willing to join us from the other side of the world. At this moment, in his country is now like 7:30 a.m. Thank you, Carlos, for waking up early for us. He's been an old mentor, or old friend of mine since the hot house session where we met. Carlos, can you turn on your video so everybody can see you? You still mute, I think. So, okay.
Yes. Sorry.
To introduce you to everyone, I think it's easy for everyone to browse for you, or to look for you in the internet, in the digital, for all your long list of achievements. But something that people don't know is this guy is very humble. We met each other actually through a hot house for Lifebuoy. At the time, we handled the same brand in our
Oh,
previous
yes.
network. Mm, it was in Mumbai, I remember. At the time, Lifebuoy gathered creatives from around the world, from New York, South African, Singapore, Indonesian, and also Colombia. And this is quite funny. Like I said, at the time, we were trying to save children under 5 with washing hands through Lifebuoy brands. And then in this pandemic, we
Yes,
also in the moment
it's
where,
curious it's curious that and in the whole industry, not even ours, is fighting and try to encourage people to wash their hands.
yeah, right. And that's also the moment where we reunite. I think that's quite funny. I mean, it's quite, funny how this life works. So yes, ever since we met, Carlos has been a humble mentor of mine. So he often give me advice for so many things, too many things maybe. I keep asking him about leadership, about creativity, and then one one most valuable advice that he gave me once is uh, this thing. I mean, like, he gave me one advice at that moment when we met, saying that, Sasa, whatever happens, don't lose hair. Right. because I think that's really spot on advice. Like all of your ideas is simple, but at the same time it's spot on. You know, having us in the creative industry, having pressures every day is inevitable, and the way we deal with briefs actually also, especially during this pandemic, is not easy. So stress is something that we cannot avoid. But I keep remember that about you saying that whatever happened, don't lose hair. Thank you so much for the advice, because it's also reflect to any kind of, you know, loss. Don't lose sanity, don't lose weight and all, because we need to be strong and push forwards. This is also relatable to our topic today, because we are going to talk about the survivors, why we survive, right? Why, what we need to survive. And the way Carlos give advice to me about simple things but spot on also reflect to his works. All his idea, which you all can see later on during his presentation, is also like that simplicity that spots on. He lives in Colombia. He speaks different language, not all the time English, right? But the thing is,
Yeah.
uh, his brilliant but simple ideas always relatable and easy for people to understand. That's the kind of advice that we need exactly at the moment in facing the challenges. So without further ado, I will pass it on to you, Carlos. Have fun.
Great, thank you very much. Good morning, my time, everyone. Good night, everyone there. I'm Carlos Rodriguez. As I was saying, we met each other like 4 or 5 years ago global on the global hub house, encouraging people to wash hands. So I'm going to get through my presentation. Just give me a little. So does everyone watch it now?
Yes.
Yes, and it changed? Yeah,
Yeah.
good. Okay, so I'm going to start talking a little bit about my career. I've always have worked in one agency. My whole career is not very common, especially here in Colombia. Every creative jumps to another agency like every 2 or 3 years. I bet it's the same there. And I don't know why I stay all the time here. And it's been such a great time. I used to be the copywriter trainee here in Mullen Law. Now I'm the CCO. I took like only a year, 1 year, when they transferred me to London because I was a little young to get the job that I'm in right now. So I'm going to jumpstart back in with all of this reflection, and I bet you hear this all day in all of your industry. Okay, data will kill creativity, machines will replace us, AI will replace us. You need to focus on innovation, not in creativity. Advertising has lost its value, and I bet every one of you hear this every day in your room. So, but I'm going to tell you that machines will not replace us as long as we keep fighting the good fight. And what I mean keep fighting the good fight, just give me a minute, please. Yes, and as long as we keep fighting the good fight, machines will not replace. And you know what? Because we have ideas, and that's basically what we need to focus on, and what we need to put all of your energy in. That it's not in meetings, it's not in emails, it's not in uncertainty about the future, it's not in what is going to happen with the industry, bro, but just in the ideas. And you know what? Because ideas, we are very lucky because ideas are both the raw material of this industry and also the final product of this industry. If you see in any kind of company you work for in this industry, either is media, either is a traditional advertising agency, either is a digital agency, in any type of company that you work in, ideas are your raw material and the final product. Either maybe you're on a media company. Yes, you sell spaces on media. Yes, you sell types of media to put your ads on, but it's not the media itself what you're selling. It's what you do with that media that you're selling. Then that's what gives you value. It's not that you're selling media. It's not that you're selling okay digital strategies. It's not selling. It doesn't matter what you put on. At the end, you're only selling ideas. Everyone can hear me? Good.
Good. Very
Good.
good.
Okay. Okay. The problem with the ideas is that, and that's our problem as our creatives, is that a good idea is the one that happens. If it doesn't, it isn't. And you know why? That is because ideas are intangible. As I can talk to you here about ideas and ideas and ideas, and if you see, it's very intangible. The problem is that people love tangible, and not only people in the streets. Your CEOs love tangible, your team loves tangibles, people out there loves tangibles, and everyone that is involved with your work, they love tangibles. That's why, actually, that's another reflection, but that's why digital advertising has become so important, because it gives us the possibility to measure. It gives us the possibility on the clicks, on the leads, on the number of shares, on the number of everything. And clients, especially clients, love tangible. That's why they love so much digital advertising, because they love the numbers, they love the exact metrics and everything. And that is a problem for us. I mean, it's not a problem, but the problem, we need to make people happy. So
Balance.
we need to make ideas tangible. That's the problem, that many creatives and many creative departments, I mean, anyone can have an idea. Everyone can have an idea in every agency, no matter if it's good or bad or better creative or worse creative. The problem with ideas is this one, is that an idea needs to happen. Otherwise, it's just another intangible, and it's like equals to zero. That's why everything, it's all about the work, and the work you do, and the work will work. The problem that sometimes this industry is stuck in is that we run like those little hamsters in those little wheels, like running, uh, questioning and making questions about the future of the industry, making questions about what is important, making questions about how we need to switch in the agency to fulfill the client's necessity. And the problem is that all of our energy and all of our heads and all of our creative minds, not only the creative department, but all of the departments are focused on that. And that's a problem, because sometimes at the end of the month, or at the end of the week, or at the end of the year, or at the end of the month, there's no work to show, because you spend the whole month, you spend the whole year just wondering, okay, what is going to happen with the industry, and you spend all of the year like switching departments and doing some presentations to fulfill clients' necessities, and you spend so much time at that, doing meetings, questioning, and everyone throwing ideas about, okay, what is going to happen with us, okay, the what is the other thing, the consulting companies are going to take our clients, and I bet that's all familiar language for all of
Yes.
you. And at the end of the year, nothing happens. So you're not adding value, because you don't have work to show, and you cannot go to a client or go to a pitch just saying, okay, we have good ideas, we have everything. You need to make it tangible, and you need to take it. That's why all of your energy, especially in your creative department, need to be focused on doing the work and doing the work. And I brought here some tips to come up with ideas, and this is not like a religious thing, or like this is not in stone. This is just some personal tips that have worked to me, as I sometimes share with Sasa.
Mhm.
And this is one of the most important ones. Observe, right? You cannot get insights, and you cannot get good stuff by asking people questions on research, on neuroscience, question people. You just get the truth of people about by observing them. So my invitation here is, whenever you are on the street, on the bus, on the subway, or when you are in a bike, or walking, just observe people, observe the way they behave, not only strangers, but observe how your mom does things, how the taxi driver that you're in does things, and observe and question them, and observe the way. If you look up all of the startups that are successful now are based on this, that just observing people. Okay, people need this, people need this, people behave like this, let's invent an app to do this. And that's why some startups are so successful now, because they do this exactly. And to clarify this, I'm going to show you an example that I saw in a Coca-Cola meeting like 2 years ago or something, and started with this. It was an experiment, a social experiment with, guess what, millennials that, of course, 1 year ago or 2 years ago, every client was so obsessed with millennials, and every campaign should be focused and direct to millennials. And when they kill your ideas, where okay, this is not good for millennials don't do this, millennials don't do that, and blah 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 blah, all of the things that I bet you heard every day, especially like 1 or 2 years ago, when that topic of millennials started to get in. And there was an experiment that Coca-Cola runs actually, and they get a group of millennials, like 100 millennials or something like this, and they start to doing questions. They start to like the typical focus group. They start some questions about the consumption, about the sugar consumption, and guess what? Uh, the millennials, and the conclusion of that study on asking them were like, okay, we prefer healthy options, we don't like sugar, we prefer food with no additives, with no sugar, we are more willing to get more healthy lifestyle, and yeah, whatever. So that's what the focus group throws to them. Just that was the answer.
Yeah.
Then after that, they went to a Starbucks, and they went to not asking them, just to observe them. And either in the study, when in the study they say, okay, we don't like sugar, okay, we prefer healthy options, okay, whatever it is, this was the most consumed product on Starbucks. And as you see, it's full of sugar. I mean, it has nothing to do with what they say on the study. So basically, it's just observing, because when you ask people something, when you ask people to what, well, about her taste, about whatever, they're not going to tell you the truth. That's why I'm not very good fan with focus groups and research, and all of the tests that big companies used to do. Is because if you're in a room full of, I don't know, 5 or 6 people, and you get to ask, you're not going to be like the stranger in the room. If everyone says, okay, this is good, yeah, this is good, and you just say
Yeah,
what it
that's
is.
right.
And
Everybody
if you
feels
observe people, yeah, exactly. And if you observe people,
feel
you find
better.
stuff like this. Yes, and that's why in my creative team, I always encourage my teams to observe and observe and observe and observe. And the next thing I'm going to show you is one of the things that one of the art directors of the team found out last year, in August, I guess. We started managing one of the parts of the Budweiser, the beer,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Budweiser account. And one of the briefs, part of the brief was that they just sign up like $5 5 year deal about promoting and about sponsoring the Premier League, the football Premier League, and the football La Liga, the Spanish La Liga. And that's part of the brief. That was just the brief, and we needed to communicate this in a good and in a very good way, just to say, okay, Budweiser is sponsoring there. And one of the art directors, which is a good observer, just find out some similarity between this. I don't know how this guy came up with this, but he just look at the logo by observing nothing else. Just look at the traditional and famous logo, and he compared it
And now Gareth went for the
with
second
this.
ball, but Carlos couldn't clear. And this is Ryan Giggs. And now Ollie Gunnar Solskjaer and Ruud van Nistelrooy.
And
Wow.
we found it amazing. He just found that similarity by observing. Again, I'm saying I don't know how this guy came up with this, and it's just if you
Was
see, it's
it
just an
your
exercise
team,
of
Carlos?
observing and observing. Okay, what we're going to do, and they really observed this, and he came up with the idea, and we start to put together like a full team of art directors and copywriters, and we end up doing this.
Wow.
They say I walk like a king, talk like a king. You can X around now, say the same thing. They chasing the fame, they all want the name. They ain't got what's running through these veins. Say I walk like a king, talk like a king. Around now, say the same thing. They chasing the fame, they all want the name. Got what's running through these veins. Make way for the king. It won't be. Drive involved in this Arsenal attack. Drive momentum, Alexis Sanchez. Checkmate the repeat. This chestnut checkers. What can I say? I got gold jeans. Real kings do king things. Live like one, breathe like one. Killing shit by any means. Everybody can't lead like one. Nah. Is it really me? Gotta check and see my legacy like royalty, and I act like it. If you know better, act like it. Look at me now, they can't hold me down. So give me the crown. They say I walk like a king, talk like a king. You can X around now, say the same thing. They chasing the thing, but they got one name. The game got us running through these veins. Make way for the king.
El fútbol mío haga parte y quede inmortalizado acá. Moisés decidió inmortalizar los mejores goles y no solo eso, sino que también el libro los convirtió en obras maestras.
We're not the same, we're not the same. We're not the same, we run everything. We're not the same, we're not the same. They ain't got us running through these veins. Make way for the king.
Wow.
Good. So, well,
Awesome.
good. Somebody text me in the chat that should I turn up the volume a little bit.
Yeah.
So this is another sorry. This is another stuff that I want to share with you is that sorry. Don't fall in love with ideas, fall in love with problems. And why is that? Because many creatives, even me, sometimes we fall in love with ideas. And the problem that fall in love with ideas is if you stick with one idea, your head gets stuck in that idea, and you cannot come up with a better idea for the same brief or for the same profile. So I try to do this, and I try to encourage my teams. I know this is super hard, especially for me when I see an idea that I like, is the one that I like. Okay, I'm doing this, and I just forget everything else. But that's a mistake, because you need to fall in love with the problem, because if you start with the problem, okay, you get one idea, yeah, that's a good idea to solve the problem, but let's think another idea on how to solve the same problem, and that's how your mindset should be. Like this, that's how your mind should work. And a couple of years ago, one of the creatives came to my office with this. This is a headline that it was published. So it says, I don't know if everyone can watch it. It says Messi, Higuain, and a woman are nominated to Europe's best goal of the year. So I bet he showed me, and the team showed me, and he asked me. They asked me actually if I found something weird or something strange on this, and luckily I didn't. I mean, I don't know. And I was like, no, it's good. Yeah, Messi, Higuain, and a woman are nominated to Europe's best goal of the year. And I said, yes, that's what it says. And they say, oh, look, they obsessed with this problem and they start to look for on the internet about so many sexist headlines that are across the media, not only in Colombia, but all over the world. And they start to focus and obsess. They got obsessed with that problem. And once they have like 100 or I don't remember how many of them, they start to do is, okay, let's go into rewrite it. And they show me this after this. So it says, Camille Abili, the French soccer player that is competing against Messi in Europe's goals. And then when they show me this, I was like, oh my God, yes, that is true. And the lecture that I gave and the lesson that they gave me is that, okay, these headlines are better when they're rewritten, that now they make more sense. So they asked me, why don't we build a full campaign and a whole campaign around this topic? And we work a little bit with El Tiempo, which is the biggest newspaper in Colombia, and we present this exact stuff, saying to them that they have also, as the biggest media the biggest newspaper in Colombia, they have the responsibility to do something, and they will be like, because some of the headlines were even in their newspaper. So we asked them to do a campaign and build it like holding the flag of changing this, and we did a huge campaign that was very successful 2 years ago. I'm going to show you.
Women make news around the world every day. However, sexism is present on many headlines in the news. Introducing Women Rewrite Women. On the International Women's Day, El Tiempo, the biggest newspaper in Colombia, published an open invitation to all the female journalists around the country to choose a sexist headline from any media and rewrite it from their own point of view.
Invito a todas las mujeres a que se sumen a la campaña hashtag Mujeres Reescriben Mujeres. Hola, estoy aquí para sumarme a la campaña Mujeres Reescriben Mujeres. Mujeres Reescriben Mujeres. Mujeres Reescriben Mujeres. Mujeres Reescriben Mujeres.
In just a few days, not only journalists, but also social influencers, actresses, artists, and hundreds of women rewrote headlines like these and replaced them with headlines like these. A few weeks later, we created a special edition of our newspaper dedicated entirely to women, where 18 of the new headlines were published and even turned into print ads. Also, 6 of the most influential female journalists of the country wrote articles highlighting the role of women in the world. With just a hashtag and an email address, we got more than 200.4 million impressions, 17.6 million people read our special edition, reached 15.9 million people, rewrote more than 600 headlines, and even got media coverage from 13 countries that praised the initiative. And how did we know that women loved the campaign? Because when it was finished, a group of journalists started a petition to launch it again. Women Rewrite Women, from a hashtag to a symbol for women to rewrite history.
Cool.
Good. So this is also very important on throwing ideas. Sorry. And this is that let anyone throw ideas, literally everyone. And this is very important. Sorry, this is very important because sometimes we tend to think that the ideas are only for the senior creatives or the ones that are going to throw ideas are, I mean, you know what? A good idea can come up from anyone and from everywhere, but literally everywhere. I have some of the good ideas that have been made in the agency are not even from a creative department, are just from either a planner or they're an account executive or either the junior creative. Look, 2 or 3 years ago, one of the most popular campaigns we did in the agency were from the most junior and unexperienced team in the agency. And why is that? Because when you're young, you tend to throw whatever is in your mind. As you get older and as you get more senior in this industry, you kind of tend to, okay, overthink what you were saying. You cannot be, okay, I cannot play the stupid part here in the room, so I cannot throw ideas. You just need to let it go. Even if you're a senior guy. I mean, when I'm throwing ideas with my team, I try to say like everything. And sometimes what I say, even if I am the CCO and the most experienced guy in the creative department, I just throw stupid things, because on stupid things is how you build stuff, and maybe a good idea can lead to other ones. So that's why sometimes the younger creatives are more shy in the room because they try to okay, and I encourage them to just throw ideas. I mean, just relax, and I try to maintain an ambience in the agency, and especially creative department, when everyone can throw up ideas. And if your idea is good, I don't care if you're not the senior. I don't care if your boss has been thinking about it, it's too weak. But if you have the good idea, yeah, let's do it. And it's okay for us. It doesn't happen. And that's not only happening with the people within the agency, because sometimes when you're discussing the brief with the taxi driver, as I was saying, with your mom in the kitchen, or whatever, when you're having dinner with your family or whatever, maybe your little brother can come up with a very nice idea, so you need to have your phone ready to get those ideas. So this is basically to create an ambience on the agency, onto okay, let anyone throw ideas. You never know from which will come the next, the good one. I mean, and this is led to what I was saying about getting older, because I don't know if you all remember when you were a child, when you were kids or you were little girls, you were very curious and you wanted to try everything and you want to experience everything, and you question yourself every day about, okay, what is this? And I bet, Sasa, that you have a little daughter. I bet she asks you every day, okay, why and why and why and why and why. Try to be child again. Try to be as curious as a kid and as curious as a little girl again, because that's the only way. Because when society makes you like less creative every day, because you need to focus and you need to just think inside this box.
Right?
Otherwise, if you see sometimes in a meeting, kids say improper things, right? I'm not saying like something nasty, or I'm not talking about it, but the kids say improper things, and it's not improper. It's things that everyone in the room is thinking, maybe. Yeah, but the kid is the one that say, and the little girl is the one that say, okay, mom, why is this happening? And everyone's like, wow, be like that, and let your mind just explore, and let your mind be like a little like if you were a little kid, because that's when you get moral, and that's when you say something like that is actually true, and it's not like conditioned about what they say. And that's one of my biggest invitations today, is basically to consume everything. Sometimes junior creatives, not from my agency, but from all of the agencies in Colombia, text me and DM me on Instagram, asking me and how to be a better creative. And I don't have the answer. What I do have the answer is, and I bet, I think Steve Jobs was the one to say that artists and creatives are ashamed to tell this exact truth, and is that basically that creativity is just a connection of stuff of an all new, there's no original creativity, it's just connections of things you saw in the past. So I don't have the key to be a better creative and to be the best creative ever, but I guess this is a really good invitation. Consume everything. Read every book that's out there. try every food that's out there, listen to every artist that's out there, and the one that's on the right, on the bottom right, is basically talk to everyone. And it connects with the observe part that I was saying at the beginning. Talk to the taxi driver, talk to the guy that served your food, talk to everyone, and be willing to get and consume everything for them, because all of that information that you will have in the brain, I guarantee you that in the future will serve you for a campaign. If you have a good conversation with for example, a guy that is driving your taxi, and 1 year later, you get a brief about, okay, our target is taxi drivers, and you haven't spoke to them. There's no information in Google that tell you how that taxi drivers behave.
right.
You can Google, okay, how taxi drivers behave, and you can maybe,
Especially during this pandemic, nobody is in taxi at the moment, right?
yes, yes. Yes, but yeah, and that's my biggest invitation today, is basically consume everything. If there is a series on Netflix, you got Netflix there, yeah, it's popular there. Netflix, yeah, and it's
Yeah.
popular there. If Netflix is popular there, okay, you need to watch the series that everyone is talking about, because either if you don't like that series, you need to watch it, and you need to understand why people like it so much, and why are the codes that they're using, just to watch it, and just to put information, and even music you don't like, and even when they invite you to travel to a place that you don't like that much, go to that place and experience everything, and say, I don't know if you remember the Jim Carrey movie, like Yes Man or Yes Sir, I don't remember.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes.
it's basically saying yes to everything, because those information, those experience, those everything, because creativity comes from the experience you collect in your brain. So you need to constantly challenge your brain and put it with new information and with everything. That doesn't mean what happens on the other side, that people get obsessed. Okay, I need to check my email and I need to check every newsletter. I mean, and that's not the point. The point here is like, try new things and experience new things, because all of that things will renew your brain, and will help you in when you're at work and when you were stuck with a brief. And this, some questions that many people ask me is about how to measure a good idea or a bad idea. How do I know that it is the right idea? I don't have the answer, unfortunately, but this one here have worked to me a lot, and is trust your guts. If you see some ideas cause you an instant and quick emotion, and some others don't. I bet to all of you happen that, especially if you're creative, that sometimes, okay, oh, that's it. And if you think again, and if you let him rest, you let the idea sleep, and if the next day you feel the same instant and quick emotion, and you still thinking that this is the idea, trust your guts, and this is the idea, and go all the way. Maybe you will be wrong, maybe whatever, but no, you trust your guts. So if you trust your guts, I guess that is the I bet you that is the right answer. And this is the sad part of coming up with ideas, is that sometimes you fall in love with an idea, sometimes you think you have the best idea in the world, and if you fell in love with the problem, and you fell in love with the idea, and you came up and your gut say, okay, that is the idea, we're going to do it. If it's very good and if it's good enough, you should Google it, because if it's a very popular problem, and if it's a good idea, somebody should have thought it about it. I guarantee you that. And oh, sorry. I guarantee you that. That's all.
Carlos,
Sorry.
do you often face this kind of a situation where you fall in love with the idea and then you Google it and somebody already made it?
Yeah. Because it's very easy to overlap with other creative thinking, especially in the same briefs, especially um, as you see with internet and globalizations. I guess society is worrying about the exact same problems. I mean, today is the best example of it. all of the industries are only worried in one problem, which is COVID. And that happened very, very often because I don't know, 2 years ago when bicycles are becoming very popular and other ways of transportation,
Yeah.
that's normal that the same problems come up. Okay, security, helmets. That's why, for example, in Cannes Lions and in all of the advertising festivals, you see the same briefs every day. Okay, yeah, there's one brief about don't drink and drive, and next year is don't text and drive, and next year is use your helmet and don't text and bike, and next year you'll be and I bet next year we're going to see a lot of ideas about COVID, and that's nothing wrong because that's good that the industry is thinking about solving problems. But the problem with this is that everyone is thinking about the same problems. Everyone around the world, not even in your country, everyone around the world is thinking about the same problem. So it's very common that if you come up with a good idea, okay, yeah, somebody already did it. But
Carlos,
what I do with this,
Carlos, we have
sure.
a question from someone from Instagram because it's also live in Instagram. The question is what we should do when the client said no and we believe in the idea.
What should we do? What?
What should we do? I think this is from Creative. I think someone asked in our Instagram live. He asked what we should do when the client said no, while we actually believe in the idea. This
I
happens a lot,
think
right?
I think you need to push the idea on the client,
Mhm.
and if it doesn't work, you just sell the idea to another client.
That's right.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
that's
yes.
right.
That's
Never
something
let a good idea die, right? You have to push it.
you need to push it. I mean, you need to
Yeah.
push it. You not only push it in the same client. If one client didn't see it, if one client did see it, didn't like it, didn't find it good, you just need to sell it to another client, and that is something that I mean,
Yeah.
some people don't like me because of doing this, but man, if we believe good in a really good idea, just do it.
Yeah.
Just to let you know, I'm not going to show you today, but 2 years ago we did a very popular project, which was my line, which was like
Yeah.
a landline where you call Google. It was for remote and rural areas,
Yeah, that's
and
one of my favorite ideas of yours.
we tried to sell this idea to one telco company, telephone company that we have in the agency, which is ATV. They
Mm.
didn't like it. I mean, the vice president liked it, but the guy then just went off, and the next guy didn't like it. So okay, we
Mm.
tried to sell it. I mean, we tried to sell it like to 4 or 5 clients, and we knew that it was a really good idea that needed to be done. And at the end, we end up doing it with the government because we're very close to them. But that was like the the fifth client that we present the idea to. So yeah, if your client doesn't like the idea, sell it to another client. If you really think that is worth it, that is worth to pushing, that is worth to do it. I mean, for example, the idea of the rewritten headlines. We sold it to El Tiempo, but if you think if El Tiempo didn't like, I mean, fortunately, El Tiempo did like the idea. But if El Tiempo didn't like the idea, what do you think they will do? The problem was there.
Mm.
If it's not El Tiempo, we can sell it to another magazine. We can sell it to even to a client, maybe replacing advertising or whatever. And there's so many options, and there's so many things. There's so many clients. There's so many ways of doing of watching the same idea, so you can sell it to any client if you think it is a good idea. And if it's a good idea and no client sells to you, just put it on Kickstarter and get rich and start a startup or something. Good. So this one is one of that it takes a lot to in I try to convince our clients to do this, and it's take risk. It might sound obvious and cliche. Okay, let's do risky stuff, and no, because that today happened something. I don't know if you remember that Kendall Jenner, the Kendall Jenner ad about the Kendall Jenner Pepsi ad. There was a
Yes.
backlash for them. I remember 2 years ago they put out, and I bet they were, and I can't imagine how this all worked. You know, they put in a focus group about millennials, and the millennials told you, okay, we focus on social causes, and we like to fight for. We're more conscious now about the planet and the environment and whatever. And I guess the marketing director said, okay, let's do a march, and let's do whatever. And there was a total backlash with them. I
Yeah.
have a question here. Sorry, I can.
I want to know, I'm graphic designer, but really interested with the environmental, animals, and social issues. What do you think when the creative get relation with social issues?
I love it. I love it. Actually, let me. Sorry,
No worries.
I'm not good at Zoom. Sorry. So I want to know. I'm a graphic designer, but really interested with environmental. I'm not social. What do you think? Look, I love social issues. If you see some of the work that I will show today, and if you see my work that I can share you with after that, has, I think, half of it, or most of the half of it, have related to social and environmental issues. And why is that? Because I think if we're a group of creatives, and if we are constantly thinking about solving problems, you know, society, and I guess Indonesia is like Colombia, have so many problems to solve. You know, there are so many, and I love that you can put all your energy and pull of your creativity to solve social issues. So I totally agree with that. Many people will tell you, don't use your creativity to solve social problems, just to sell my product, just to sell more yogurt or sell more cars or whatever. But if your mind and if your mindset as a creative and as a designer is going into social stuff, that is amazing. Actually, to answer your question, that's one of the reasons I have never moved from this agency, is because in the principles where the agency was found is to think about society, and for every paid account that we have, we also have a foundation or a cause that we believe in, that we work for free. So we work with tons of social foundations, we work so tons with social causes, pro bono, totally pro bono, no paying, no money, just to focus our energy on solving problems. And that's something that the founders of the agency believed in, and that's one of the main reasons of staying in the agency, is because I believe that, and I think being in this place when we can solve problems through creativity, it's amazing. And I don't know if I answered the questions. If not, you can ask again on the chat.
Yes, I think you're totally right. I'm also think that advertising is not only about selling, or selling stuff, but also have a superpower if we can use it right, right? Like for example, president, or president, a good one can be elected through a good campaign, or a bad one can also be stopped by communities because of the campaign itself. So I truly believe that. And Carlos himself is one of those creative that always try to solve big problem with such a simple and brilliant ideas. Maybe we would like to see more of your work that solve social issues, Carlos.
Okay, good. I will show you. And actually, at the end, I will show, because my ending tip is based on solving society's problem. So I'm going to jump back on the presentation, and I don't know. This was talking about taking risk, and I don't know if you all remember the Pepsi ad with Kendall Jenner. It was a backlash for them. I don't know if you remember. They need to pull down the pull of the ad. And after some days after that, Pepsi was trying to project a global message of unity, peace, and understanding. Clearly, we missed the mark, and we apologize. We did not intend to make light of any serious issue. We are removing the content and holding any further role. We also apologize for putting Kendall Jenner in that situation. Pepsi took a good risk, and Pepsi did it wrong, and Pepsi really messed up with that, and that's what started the conversation. That is real. That is a real statistics on how Google stuff. But you have Pepsi, right? But the next day or the next 2 days, I don't remember, Donald Trump said something, I cannot remember that. And this is the level of conversation. So if you put it in perspective, yes, maybe you, oh, sorry. And just to put it in perspective, yes, maybe you messed up, yeah, but take the risk. Nobody will care. I mean, we're in a very lucky generation that everything we do, I mean, watch it in the bad way. If you watch and if you do good, the next day people will forget it. You just do good for one day. But the good thing with that is that if you do something wrong with your account, if you put something out there that is not working, we're very lucky generation that we have the possibility to change it in time. We can delete a tweet. We can remove an ad that we have. And the next day, your president or whatever president it is or whatever, I mean, there will be a new challenge. There will be a new TikTok challenge. There will be a new quote from Donald Trump. There will be a new movie, and there will be whatever. And people will not be worried about your mistake anymore.
Yeah,
Look at the statistics. If you watch it, here is Pepsi. Okay, yeah, everyone is. I guess that was the conversation on the marketing direction. Okay, guys, we're messing up. Sales are going down. And like the next day, Donald Trump said something.
yeah, still the thunder.
Nobody cares about Pepsi anymore. And look what's that. Like 2 weeks ago, that says more people prefer brand after Kendall Jenner Albert's survey reveals, and nothing happened. People won't. People, even if people kill your brand on social networks, as sometimes happen, and the next day they will forget. So take risks. Nobody will cares, and you need to encourage your clients to take those risks and do stuff and celebrate mistakes. And okay, let's do this. Sometimes I try to do this in the creative department. Look, sometimes when I approve ideas to my creatives, sometimes I don't like the ideas that much. Even in my conscious, I know that maybe this is not right, but I see the passion in the creative that we need to pull this out. Okay, I don't care. I mean, let's sell it to the client. Maybe it would work. I don't have the reason. And maybe sometimes we celebrate the mistakes, and sometimes we made the mistakes. And I tell the guys, I told you, it's not, I told you that I was right, but sometimes it doesn't happen. Sometimes it's a success, and I wasn't right. And the guy said, okay, see, Carlos, we were right. So, and that's the beauty of it. You need to celebrate mistakes, and you need to allow yourself to take risk. And the next stop.
Sorry, there are 3 questions already at the moment. So, the first one is from the first, and the second one from Michael Krisani, asking about what do you do to get out of a stagnant situations when your mind feels dull, but you need to produce ideas, and then how important is the reference for you, and can you define the reference in your opinion?
Okay, yeah, and the intentional spirit and special
Like in simple way is, what do you do if you wake up in the morning, you have no ideas, well, you have deadlines, something like that, and then will you find reference? Because the way you do it is, if you have a good idea, then you browse it through Google, right? Well, in Indonesia, sometimes people do it differently. They browse for reference first, and then they got the idea. Yeah, that's what happened. Happen all the time.
Yeah,
look. So when they review ideas, sometimes they show me reference.
Look, just to answer the first question, what do you when you get off a stagnant situation when your mind feels dull? You need to let the ideas and let your brain rest. Sometime the deadline is tomorrow. We need to present tomorrow midday, and it's 3 a.m. in the night, 3 a.m. in the morning, actually, and you're with your creative team and you have nothing. You know what I do? I tell the creatives, go home, go have some sleep, let rest the brain, because in the last thought moment that you're thinking, I guess your idea. I mean, there's I don't know how to say it in English, but there's a said that we have in the agencies that it always comes. I mean, the idea always comes. I mean, whenever it is, I mean, no worries that an idea will come. Either it's a bad, a good, so idea, any idea will come. So at the end, if you have a deadline, you'll come up with something. So no worries, and don't stress yourself on thinking that you don't have idea. Just let it go and let it rest for a moment. Go walk your dog, go have some dinner, even if the deadline is tomorrow. Just don't overthink it, because if you were thinking about it like for 1 week or 2 weeks and the deadline is tomorrow, you have nothing in that night, nothing happened. And if you're like 2 hours or 3 hours till the meeting, just stick with whatever you have and just put it the best way you can have to present, and just stick with that. And at the end, any idea will come. But my best advice to you is that just let it rest. Just go home, have some dinner, walk your dog, just let it rest and have some sleep. And at the next day, I guarantee you that idea will come out. Don't overthink and don't stay like till 6 a.m. trying to think because the deadline is tomorrow. No. You need to let your brain rest. And if you have some stuff there, something will pop up. I guarantee you. And the other one, how is Portland in reference? I think maybe I will discuss this on this presentation later. I'm not sure, but reference is very, very, very important. It's super important. The problem with reference, I mean, reference is, as I was saying, you need to consume everything. So you need to have everything on reference, like here in the head, and you need to look for an internet. And one of my the main advices that I give to my creative is that you need to be updated. Okay, what's the new trend on colors? What's the new trend on cinema? What's the new trend on everything? And you need to be updated. And what's the news? I encourage my creatives to read the news, because the news is when you get the perspective of everything, and you need to be updated in everything. The problem with references is that everyone looks at the same references. So you need to have references, because you need to be aware on what everyone is watching right now, and what every creative, because all of the creatives here watch Behance and watch the same portals and the same pages and the same web pages. Everybody gets the same reference. Reference are very important, because you get a sense of what is trending now, get a sense of what is fashionable now, what typo, what art direction can you do now. But don't over rely on references, because otherwise you'll be stuck doing exactly the same as everyone else. And if you play a television, well, not right now, but if you play television, or if you watch an Instagram feed on all of the brands that are doing here, if you see, all of the brands are doing exactly the same. And if you have this as a reference, okay, yeah, let's do it. But sometimes do it a reference that you might, okay, this type of photography is cool. It's appropriate to the project. Yeah, let's use the type of photography. Or that typography is really good. Okay, let's use that typography. But try to use the reference, but not over rely on reference, because otherwise you'll be stuck doing exactly the same work that every other creative there, that every other agency there. So you need to differentiate a little bit. So next one, do intentionally spare time to special have brainstorming session for initiative ideas in between the already very hectic scale of working in an agency? Yes.
Okay, and I'll reread it, because not everybody can see the question.
Okay, sorry. Okay.
So this is a question from Debrina saying that, do you intentionally spare time to especially have a brainstorming session for initiative ideas in between the already very hectic schedule of working in an agency? So this is everybody's or all creatives problem. I keep saying to them, make time, because if you find time, you cannot find any.
I think you need to be very disciplined with this
Yes.
because as I started, if you remember, as I started this session today, is that you overspend your time overthinking in meetings and you get stuck in emails and you get stuck, okay, what are we going to do with that? And there's no room anymore for creative brainstorming. So I try to be very disciplined, even with the hectic schedule of the working in the agency and the day by day work. You need to be very disciplined, and you need to have at least a full morning session every month. I mean, at least you need to do it every month. You need to have a full Friday or afternoon session, maybe with some beers, maybe with some drinks, and you focus on 1, 2, or 3 briefs that you think that might work, or 3 problems that you saw in the news that you think some of your brands can solve it, and start to overthink. But that's just discipline. The answer is yes, I do intentionally have brainstorming sessions, sometimes more regularly, sometimes less regularly, depending on pitches and on the amount of work that I've been doing. But yes, you need to do it regularly, because that it's a sense of freedom for creatives, that it's kind of a disconnection for all your creatives that not only working on the day-by-day stuff and all of the briefs that we have, but just overthink and let all of the creativity flow to another good. And on those sessions, that's where the best ideas come up. Yes.
Okay. Okay, you can continue to the presentation again, Carlos.
Good. So I was talking about taking risks, and this campaign that I'm going to show you. You can watch it later and on the TV spots. I'm not showing the TV spots here, but we manage the Aruba. I bet you all know what Aruba is. It's a very tropical and an amazing island in the Caribbean. We manage the tourism for that island. And regularly with the previous agency, every Valentine's Day, they do the same. They promote it like with some cliche photos of couples walking in the beach, come to Aruba, get your honeymoon here, or go to Aruba, come to Aruba and say yes here, and to propose your girlfriend here, or get your wedding here, and all of the generic communication that, by the way, we still do it, some of it. But every year they promoted this. And one Valentine's Day, like 1 year or 2 years ago, we tried to do it differently. And we proposed, and the creative team came up with the idea, okay, how about if this time we don't ask men to go there for honeymoon or to go there to ask for proposal, but if we challenge women in Latin America to go to Aruba and ask married for their boyfriends. And our client was like, they were all women. The clients were all women, and they were like, this is not going to happen. What is going? And we pleased them, and we asked them to, okay, let's take the risk. Let's create a challenge. Let's ask women, okay, subscribe yourself in this website. Tell us why you want to get married with your boyfriend, and let's see what happened. And we were very fortunate because the client let us do this. And the expectations that we have is like all over Latin America. The expectations were like 100 women subscribe on the website. And it was amazing because there were 4,700 across Latin America. You cannot imagine. Women were getting crazy on trying to subscribe on the website, and we create this campaign which is called He Said Yes, and it was basically a contest encouraging women to subscribe, and they win a trip to Aruba to propose their boyfriend. The client said it didn't run, but the client says, okay, let's take the risk. And look, if this won't work, if this wouldn't work, nothing happens. Okay, well, it didn't work, so let's think another one. So that was happening.
Can a woman propose marriage to a man?
No.
Hey,
Yeah, a girl did ask me to marry one time.
really? Are men the only ones that can propose?
What do you think about women proposing to men? Aruba invita a todas las mujeres a cambiar de rol en el amor.
Aruba tá numa campanha que eu achei incrível, que tem tudo a ver com o que a gente está falando.
Aruba invita a todas las mujeres.
¿Cómo empoderar a todas las mujeres de Latinoamérica para romper esos esquemas?
Pero está perfecto, mujeres pueden ir y pedirle matrimonio a ese hombre que les encanta.
Él dice yes. Sí. Bueno, trata él. Qué horror. Sí.
Precisava te falar uma coisa. ¿Recuerdas que tú me dijiste que primero lo intentáramos, viviendo juntos y creo que vos, yo, tenemos que dar un paso más?
Marry me, love me for the rest of my life.
Una nueva campaña que impulsa a las mujeres a pedirle matrimonio a sus parejas.
¿A usted le gustaría?
En este momento no.
Sí, o sea, que las mujeres son las que proponen matrimonio.
Sí, exacto, te toca proponer ahora, Andrea.
Espérate, Dina se anima. No me expongo ni loca a que me digan que no. No me expongo ni loca.
Que é da mulher sair do convencional e pedir um homem em casamento.
So this is a risk we take, and this is a risk our client let us take, and it was a success. And as I was saying, maybe it wouldn't be a success. Maybe it would be a total crappy activation and whatever. And nothing happened. I mean, the next day somebody will tell something again, and the client will say, "Okay, I told you guys this didn't work." Okay, yeah. So this is the second most important stuff that I'm going to encourage you to do today, and it relates to what all of I was saying during the whole presentation. Maybe I'm sounding repetitive, but don't overspend your time on meetings, on worry about the future of the industry, on worry about how robots will take our jobs and all of that stuff that comes up in the media. Just have fun. Remember what you were here in the very first place. Remember what do you wanted to be aspired to work in an agency when you were at college studying advertising or studying art direction or studying whatever you study, but just have fun. I mean, we are very lucky again to be in a profession that no lives depend on us, you know? I mean, we're not doctors, we're not lawyers, we are not bankers. I mean, just let those guys worry about their numbers. Let those doctors worry about lives, you know, because that's very, very good. Yeah, right. But we're doing advertising. So we just need to have fun and keep our minds relaxed and not worry about what is going to happen next. So we have this is my office. Actually, it's closed. Yeah, but what is behind is my office. And when I started as a CCO in the company, I started this kind of mantra, which is called Mood and Love. One of the creative guys invented. I didn't invent it. It was one of my senior creatives that invented this. But we try to put everything here, and it's just having fun, just for the sake of it, right? Just okay, let's do it. Let's have a good time. And sometimes when I bring people to the team, when I interview people from other agencies, I prefer to be good persons. I prefer them to be nice persons with ethics, with so familiar that you can be friend with, you can be brother or sister, instead of, I mean, I prefer this and willing to do good work, you know, like guys with, okay, yeah, let's do this, instead of so many awards, instead of so many good portfolio. I mean, I think I see the portfolio after that. I prefer this, and I prefer to have nice people in my team before nice creative. So be nice, have fun. Apart from being a nice creative, apart from being a good creative, just have and that's the ambience that I try to build in the agency. And unfortunately, and Sasa, you might know this, or for the guys that the guys or the girls that are listen to me here that run departments, that maybe not be popular, right? I mean, sometimes won't like. I mean, okay, I don't like to be so cheesy and I don't want to have friends. Yeah, okay, let those guys just leave your agency if they don't commit with what you were thinking. That there will be place for them in other agency, but just stick with the guys and try to build an ambience where, okay, let's do good work and let's just have fun. I'm going to show you. This is not a video case; it's just video that we do in the agency. And like 2 or 3 years ago, there was a challenge in the in YouTube. I guess it was a YouTube challenge 3 or 4 years ago. I don't know if you remember. There was a room, like a classroom, and when the teacher just turned the back, the guys just removed the shirt off, and it was like the shirt off challenge. And at the same time, J Balvin, one of the most popular Colombian singers, were launching a song which was called Mi Gente. And we did a video that so far until today is the most watched video in the agency's social networks. It's a stupid video. Don't over expect anything.
Si el ritmo te lleva a mover la cabeza, ya empezamos como es. Mi música no discrimina a nadie, así que vamos a romper. Toda mi gente se mueve. Mira el ritmo como los tiene. A como
It's a stupid video we made with that challenge and with that song that was very popular there. We even get a retweet from the artist saying, okay, guys, this is so cool. And this is the most watched video in the social networks of the agency, even more than the campaigns, even more than whatever. And it's just for fun. I mean, why we did it? Because we can, we can do it. And that's it, right? This is also one of the creatives that we have. It's just a guy that puts I don't know how to say, a wig. He just made stories up.
He always does that to everyone.
Just to have fun in the agency, nothing else. And the next campaign I'm going to show you is basically the reflection of that having fun. And this is one of the campaigns that many people said to us, don't do it, it's a stupid. And it is stupid, I know it is stupid, but we did it just for fun. And we were lucky enough that the client loved it and the client let us do it. We didn't spend so much budget on it, and it was very. It's a stupid thing. I'll show you how, and I'll show you. I'll show it here because it is a reflection on the fun that we have in the agency. This was one of the ideas that the creatives show me. Okay, look, this is a joke. Let's do it, and that's it. Yeah, let's do it. I mean, it makes me laugh, so yeah, let's do it. And basically, what we did, we managed the account of one of the football teams here in the agency. It is a red team. And of course, as around the world in many teams, the opposite is the blue one, the blue team. So what we did is where we think, okay, if you're part of the red team and you're a red fan, and what about if you have blue eyes? You have the eyes thinking about your biggest rival's color. So basically, we created a set of contact lenses to hide that your eyes are blue. It's just a stupid thing that we just did for fun, and it was super huge here. Everybody was sharing it in WhatsApp. We got retweeted from some sports celebrities, and people really liked it. Of course, many people told that, okay, this is bullshit. This is the most stupid thing I've saw. So I'll show you. I was saying it's a joke. It's very stupid. The creative story, but we present the idea to the client and we just did it. Actually, the film, we didn't spend the budget. We did it during another film of other thing. I just brought some red shirts and say, okay, let's film this, and we have a some piece of content. And just to
Carlos, there's a question. I think it's really relatable to what we just saw. Can you share with us the way you break down a problem? What the elements to be considered when trying to tackle a problem?
Well, I think you need to. I'm not going to explain this, but what I try to use when tackle a problem is this one might be the most obvious one, but try to find an insight. Try to find how this problem affects people's lives, and try to think so from a guy or a woman that from the time of he wakes up to the moment that he go to bed, and try to think how that problem affects them. And after that, and when throwing ideas, just think about three stuff. One is your client's interesting, your client interest, sorry, your client interest, not your brand, not the account, the client interest, because the client have some interest. Maybe it's a promotion on the marketing department, maybe it's whatever stuff. Have thoughts on how the solution might affect your agency and you as a creative department and as a creative agency interest, and try to think what is the best interest for the brand and for what is the more health proposal. And if you mix the insight, your client interest, your interest, and your brand interest, you kind of get a sense of how the solution might be. And I think that's the proper way to do it.
Okay.
I don't know if I was clear. Good.
Good. Let's continue.
Good. So this is another small story that that we did just for fun, and it reminds me like 3 years ago. I don't know if you're familiar with this picture. This is the Vatican in Rome. I don't know if many of you have been there.
I've been there.
It's beautiful. It's really nice. Yes. And have you seen the pictures today? Like they like looks like in a movie. Everything like no people around.
Like I Am Legend kind of movies.
Yes, like I Am Legend. Yeah, exactly. It's terrible. It's so shocking. Those images of the Pope giving like the ceremony there, like just by himself is terrible. But I was telling and on how serious we take our jobs, and it's also related to having fun. And we were in the Vatican, and luckily for us, the Pope Francis, when he was very young, he started a foundation that is right now in Argentina. I can't remember the name, was Escolas, I think. And that foundation talked to us and found my boss, Francisco Samper, and asked us to make a proposal and to do like a small pitch to do a small campaign with a manifesto and everything for that foundation. And we went to the Vatican to meet the Pope. And the funny story is that they spent a full morning explaining to us the protocols on how you need to say hi to the Pope. So there's three ways you can call the Pope. You can tell him Pope Francis. You can tell him Holy Father. Yeah, Pope Francis, Holy Father, and your sanctity. I don't know how to say your holiness. Yeah, su santidad is in Spanish, and that's the only three ways you need to. They spend a full morning explaining us the protocol on how you say it. You need to kiss the ring, and you need to put down your. And the funny thing is that when we arrived at the Vatican and we were supposed to meet the Pope, as soon as the Pope come to me, I just get so nervous that I just say, "What's up, Pope?" And I just like this. And my first reaction was to take out my mobile phone and take a selfie with him, and it was that's the result of the stuff. If you see the face of the Pope, we just it was like what is going to know. My boss would kill me, and my partner Juan Pablo just enter the picture, and that's what it says. So blurred because it was like we totally killed the protocol. That this is one of the stories that is very popular in the agency about the guy that said "What's up, Pope?" to like shaking hands, like okay, yeah, good, good, good. After that, and we had such a good meeting with the Pope. It was very I don't know how to feel it, that a very fulfilling experience to work with the Pope. And the year after this,
wait. I want to know how on earth that you can get contact to Pope. That's the biggest mystery because I noticed when you post this, and that makes us, everyone that knows you or follow you on Instagram shocked because oh my goodness, he got a selfie with a Pope.
yeah,
How
yes, yes.
how even how you can even
Look,
get
it was a lot of stuff, and that is related with the question that someone asked me before about doing social stuff.
yeah.
Doing social stuff can bring you a lot of good things, and that's why I love doing social stuff, because when you do social stuff, you're really making an impact in the world, and as you make impact in the world, it's very more deep and very more profound and very more transcendental for your life and for your country than selling yogurt or than selling tobacco or alcohol or cars or whatever brands you work on. And the good thing is that if when you do those kind of stuff, many other stuff come up with you. And to answer your question on the Pope, remember as I was saying, the Pope has a foundation in Argentina, right? So as the Pope has a foundation in Argentina, they were building with McKinsey. You know McKinsey, the consulting company. McKinsey, I don't know if it's popular there. It's like Accenture or some other one. McKinsey was like arranging and trying to help them to build the foundation as a company, financially and administratively. I mean, all of the stuff. And after that, one of the main points that they were talking was advertising. And one of the women in McKinsey recommend Francisco, my boss, because he and we all, with Juan Pablo and me, we're all involved on the peace agreements in Colombia. We were doing some demobilization, guerrillas campaigns. So we were very popular on that fact. So McKinsey recommend us. And it was funny because to pitch the agency, they don't see portfolio, they don't see the work you've done. They just interview you and just watch if you're a good person. What I was saying there. So Francisco interview himself via Zoom also, because they were in Argentina, not with the Pope, but with the guys from the foundation. They love Francisco as a person, so they say, okay, the project is yours. You present in 2 weeks in the Vatican, and that's how It was
Well,
really good.
you're very lucky guy. Okay, let us see the work that you do, that you did with the Pope.
Yeah, I'm going to show you now.
Yes.
So 1 year after this, 1 year after this, the Pope came to Colombia after 32 years. After 32 years, a Pope had never come to Colombia, and Pope Francis came to Colombia. And fortunately, again, we received the brief. Uh, and again, it's just look for troubles. We love look for problems. But the brief was to create the tickets, right? The invitation, just to design them. Okay, we designed them, but my creative team came to my office and said, okay, have you seen the emoji, the praying emoji hand that we use? And I said, yes. Okay, what if we ask the Pope to bless the emoji? And I was like, what are you talking about? Yeah, let's do it. And I need to confess that I wasn't that in love with that idea. I was like, you want me to propose the Pope to bless an emoji? And he said yes. And the guys uh, entering me with a like a board with the emoji printed on it. And then I come to my boss's office with the board. Francisco, this might sound stupid. We want the Pope to bless this emoji so people can have blessed tweets when sharing the experience when the Pope come. And Francisco was and everything was all of the Pope Francis visit to Colombia was managed through the presidency, and we were very close to the government. So my boss called the president. I need to ask you a favor. We have a very strong idea. You ask us to, you want it because part of the brief was how the young people and the younger generations can connect with the visit of the Pope. And we have the idea. We have this stuff here in my office with a emoji, with a praying emoji printed on it. And we want you to ask the Pope to bless this emoji. And the president was, what are you talking about? Finally,
Okay.
we managed, I don't know how we managed to do this. And we sent the board to the president, and from the hands of the president and his younger son, the Pope.
Bless that emoji.
Okay, I'm going to show you video.
Something's not the same.
This generation moves on, and what comes up behind it in the next 5 or 10 years, I mean, it does not portend well for the church at
Your absence shut the door. Oh, 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 how sometimes leave it all behind me. Oh, darkest night is light.
Wow. Almost like Mission Impossible that you're doing that.
So this is very important also, and it's for you, your group, your client, your brands, your candidates. Find a purpose and stick to it, no matter what. This is very important because as we were discussing, social purpose driven and social purpose work. As it is trendy today to work on social, as you may see, many brands have jumped on it. In some brands, as Pepsi, for example, I was showing, is not working because the lack of authenticity. And you need to be authentic and you need to stick to that purpose no matter what. I don't know if you remember a couple of months ago, last year, Colin Kaepernick, I bet you all know this guy who refused to sing the US anthem during the matches, during the game, sorry, and he just bent their knees in pro of the Black Lives Matter community, and all of the brands retired and removed the sponsorship to him, except this brand, except Nike. And Nike, strict to the purpose, Nike, stick to it, and no matter what, and I don't know if you remember this, that people were burning shoes of Nike, and even though Nike stick with the purpose and everything, and that's very important that if you work with a brand, and if you work with a client that wants to jump into social, needs to feel authentic for them. I mean, the social cost that they're going to solve needs to be authentic. And if you're going to be there, you need to go all the way down. Sometimes some brands, for example, kind of try to appeal to the woman and the gender-based salary gap and whatever. And the problem, if you do a campaign out of it, and if you tell that, and if you address that topic, and if you address that issue, your company needs to be doing something corporately did. And if you don't do this, I mean, that won't work. Even if you do the best campaign ever about gender, about the gap on the salary, if your company doesn't do that to solve this problem, you're not working. Imagine if, for example, El Tiempo would let us come up with the idea of the headlines, but without their headlines. Of course, part of the success of the campaign is that El Tiempo did it with their own journalists, did it with their own headlines, because they're addressing that address. And if you see, Nike is one of the best examples. They didn't care if people were burning shoes on the Instagram. Actually, they did like I don't know if you remember the answer to this. They did like a tutorial to burn the shoes properly so you don't hurt yourself. So that's stick with the So if your brand or your client wants to do a social campaign, one of the things that you need to do is you need to authenticity. You need to actually do it. The purpose need to be aligned with your company's interest, not your brand, but your company's interest. And third, if you go there, you need to go all in, and you need to go all the way down, and there's no turning back, no matter if people tells you not. For example, here in Latin America, I don't know in other parts of the world, but Sprite is appealing. It's appealing a lot to the LGBT community, and that has some haters, and that had some people it's very contradictory, because it has some haters that people says, the Sprite is not going to support, is now supporting gay communities, and I'm not drinking Sprite anymore. Yeah, but if you're a marketing director for Sprite, you need to go all the way down. If you're going to support LGBT community, you need to be willing to accept those haters that are going to sell you like this, like Nike did. Yeah, we're going to support Kaepernick, and I bet all the white guys are not buying our shoes anymore. They just don't care. Just stick with their purpose, and that needs to apply not only to your brands, but to you as a team, and to you as an agency. If you believe in something, just do it all the way, no matter how the haters gone. For example, here in Bogota, some people from other agencies and from the market community have criticized us a lot to do social campaigns because they claim that we only do this to win awards and we only do this to yeah, we're saving the world and not to focus on the actual brands. Yes, that is something you need to deal with, but we're still doing and we're very proud of it. And that I'm very lucky because my bosses stick with me on this. And this is basically part of the principles that the agency is saying. So it's really good. So sorry, excuse my French, but fuck the haters. That's what I'm saying. And you need to stick to your purpose. So it's okay.
Carlos, there's a question again.
Yeah.
What was the smallest budget project that you won? Apa that won you awards, and how did you do it?
It's amazing. Last year, we won 3 lions at Cannes. Look, last year we won 1 lion at Cannes, and the previous year we won 2 lions at Cannes, actually with stock photos.
Yeah, with stock photos. I saw that
Just
one.
stock photos. We try to do sometimes good campaigns with stock photos, and you see, Colombian industry is very small. Our budgets are very tight. Our budgets are not big budgets. I mean, a couple of brands are the exception, but not compared to the US or to other countries where the budgets are super huge. So we need to be very resourceful, and we always try to find ways to hack the system and to do good stuff with less. And yeah, last year, sorry, we did a campaign with stock photos. We won at Cannes. Actually, we were also very criticized on it because one of the artists claimed that the pictures were from them, that Getty Images or Shutterstock, I don't remember, stole their style. And they point at us. They interview me on Adweek saying that we were stealing work from other artists, and we just bought 3 stock photos. We didn't steal anything. We paid for the photos, and the problem with Shutterstock and the artist is different, and this problem with Shutterstock. And the year before, we also won 2 lions, and we won some D&AD pencils with another campaign. Actually, I can show you. Whoop, sorry. I can show you the campaign. Are you watching my
Screen.
My screen? Only the keynote or the
keynote.
whole?
The keynote only.
Okay, I'm going to show you something. Sorry to do this in real time, but if you want me to show you the ads, I will show you.
Somebody is watching you on 3 different platforms. Like a total stalker.
Look, this is one of the campaigns we did with stock photos. It says the problem is not seeing the problem. This one is the campaign. The problem is not seeing the problem. It's goes to el tiempo. And it's just basically to highlight the role of the woman in such several powerful places like U.S. government, like Russia government, like Venezuelan government, and many governments. And if you see there's only one woman across all board, and nobody watched this, you need to see that twice. And I think that's the biggest win we have with such a small budget, because this is all stock photos. So we didn't pay for it because as it's el tiempo, they have the rights to use the photos. So yeah, I think this is the answer. And the other one that I was telling about the problems with the artists and are these ones. This one's the one that I was talking about. That
yeah, I remember this one. It's similar to my mother's phone screensaver, actually.
yeah. Actually, it's a stock photo that is very used on
Screensaver.
cell phones, and it says basically don't emoji and drive, and it's basically to just don't text and drive. This was also made of stock photos. You can buy these pictures in sugar stock like for $100, something like this. So those two campaigns are the cheapest ones in terms of budget to answer the questions. I don't know if there's more questions here.
I think
right.
I think you already answered this one about how do you sell that idea to client, the eye lens. I mean, you mentioned about being persistent. If the client don't believe in your ideas, then you have to sell it to other clients, right?
Yes, I'm going to, well, actually selling the contact lenses idea wasn't that difficult because if you see it in perspective, and if you see it like in one or two slides, the client just laughed, right? The client just said, okay, let's do it. He just laughed. He gave us the budget to buy the lenses, and they weren't so, they were cheap actually. So the
So
client says,
you guys
I'm not
bought
going.
lenses from other brands and then you repackage it, right?
Yes. We bought like some generic lenses with from different brands, and we repackage it and we send the package. Yeah. And the
Okay.
client says, okay, I'm not going to risk many budget on this, so it wasn't that difficult to sell this, and it was fun, right? I mean, so
Yes, it
let's
is.
do it. Yeah. So this actually kind of has to do with what we were talking about having no resources to do this, having low budgets, and please use the tools. We are a very lucky generation. We have everything in hand. We don't need big budgets. So for the guy or the girl that asked me that question about low budget, we don't need big budgets to do stuff right now. We are very lucky. We have internet. We have so many social networks. We have so many stuff. We can do some good stuff with just an iPhone, and we can shoot good stuff with a couple of lights, a couple sets of lights. We can edit, we can do whatever we want, and we have access to many tools around it. And the problem with this is that sometimes we don't use those tools, right? Sometimes we don't use the tools. And my invitation here is use those tools, because those tools will be resources for you to be. If you see, many people is famous right now just with a TikTok that they play. So that's a road that we need to use those tools to make big campaigns with huge impact and with low budget, because I guess in Indonesia it's almost the same like here. Okay, we want to do this, but we don't have budget. So we need to use all of the tools that you have in mind, that you have in hand, and to create your campaigns, even if you don't have no budget. The example I'm going to show next, so unfortunately, it's not my example,
Okay.
but it's a video that a guy made. It's a totally viral video. It has like 50 or 57 million views on YouTube right now. And it's a very clear example on how you can use the tools to become your famous. And there's a guy that broke up with his girlfriend, and days after, the guy was very sad, and the girl calls him back. And the guy, as she broke his heart, she recorded her male voices, and he did a video with their male voices, and it becomes viral. This guy really used the tools. Zero budget. I don't know if you have something.
Hey, sorry, I missed your call. I was just calling you back to let you know that I love you and I miss you. I really want you to call me back. And I'm sorry I missed your phone call, and that I know you're done. So when you get this, can you call me back? I love you and I miss you.
This is a clear example of how you use resource, and if you see, this guy have no budget, this guy have nothing, just a very cool and good idea. And that's a little bit of what we need to do in our everyday jobs. You know, working with no budget and be resourceful and creative.
Okay, there's a question from Inko Harper. I was in advertising and now I teach as communication lecturer. I need your opinion and suggestion. How can I boost students' creativity? They have no experience. Thank you.
Well, actually, I have a lecture like almost a month ago about this, and it's of course it's very difficult to get people of your students to get creative, but I think practical exercises are the best way to learn people, because no matter how, no matter what you show on your screen, no matter how you show on your board, no matter how you tell, but you need to build. I can share with you, even after that, you can leave me your email and I'll give you some tips and some practical exercises, but you need to move forward from the theory to the practical exercise and to actually get the people get creative in a practical way. I think that's the best way to do it, because you don't get creative only by watching some lecture on the screen, but actually to put people into work. And I think that's the best answer. I can share with you some exercises to get more to, so you can practice in your class if you want.
Okay.
Good. And now this is related with some of the questions that you already gave me as some tips on presenting ideas. Good, perfect, Inko. I'll see you. So yeah, I'll share you. If you can leave me your email here, I can. Yeah, perfect. That is your email. Good. So now I'm going to give you some quick tips on presenting ideas, and as you may see on the GIF behind it, this is how the ideas behave. You know, it's the client and everyone is killing your ideas, and you need to kind of bulletproof them. And the first one is this one. Please be simple. Be capable of telling your idea in a tweet. That is very, very, very important, because sometimes, even not to presenting to client, but even when creatives present the idea to me, they just overdo some long story about blah, 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 and there's been like 5 minutes of them talking and no idea is there. So please be clear. My boss has a very particular quality. Be simple, then be smart, right? So you need to be focused, you need to be clear on telling what is your idea about. And imagine if it's difficult for me as a creative director, that I'm almost in the same tune as my creatives. Imagine presenting an idea to a marketing director, which is not worried about creativity, which is not thinking about creativity, because your client is thinking about selling the cars that he has on stock, selling the yogurts that he has on stock, selling on how he is going to think about the quarter one, quarter two, quarter three. Oh, I need to get bigger sales on quarter three and whatever. So you need to be capable of telling your idea in one tweet. Either is to presenting your CCO, after that, either is you're presenting to your CEO your idea, and after that, even if you're presenting to your client, you need to be capable of telling your idea in a tweet. Be as short and as simple as it is, because that will give you, okay, what is your idea? This is my idea. And that is related to the 3 slides maximum rule that I have, because sometimes, I mean, let the bigger slides and let the big presentation for planners. Planners love to show tools and love to show studies and love to show resources and love to show many stuff. Look, when there's a presentation, for example, in a pitch, or if you're pitching an idea, planners takes like 52 slides to do this. Okay, yeah, let planners do that. If you're the creative and if you're the creative director of the idea, and if you're in your creative department, don't spend 3 or 4 slides on what you wanted to say, because a good idea sells itself in 1 or 2. If you see the ideas that I've shown you here today, I'm not saying they're good or they're bad. I'm not discussing that, but they were very simple. Okay, what are we going to do? Okay, we're going to, we want the Pope to bless an emoji. That's the idea. That's the simple idea. You have 2 or 3 facts before that, but that's my idea. And you like it or not? Oh, yeah, okay. Maybe you don't like it. Yeah, but that is the idea. And you need to be focused. Okay, we're going to rewrite the headlines of all of the media around the world, all of the sexist headlines. That's it, period. That is my idea. And you need to be capable of doing this because that will help you a lot to sell your idea to your client or to your boss or to your CEO or to whatever is your selling idea. So this rule applies. Okay, maybe it will be 4, maybe it will be 5 slides, but don't overspend like 20 slides just explaining one stuff to get to your idea, because your client will lose your connection. Your client is thinking about selling more. Your client is not in your same tune. So you need to be quick and sharp on presenting the ideas. And that leads me to this one also, because I've seen so many presentations of so many creatives with lots of text. And the problem with this is that when you're telling your idea, very excited, and you're explaining your client how you imagine your idea. If you're doing this, but you have behind you a full screen of a big paragraph of text, your client is not listening to you. Your client is just reading the text that you're just saying. So be clear. Just if you're going to help you with slides, show just an image, or show just a quote, or show just a simple sentence to get a clear idea of what you're going to say, but let all the rest you, because you need to be the one who's going to present ideas. Look, this is just a little text, please, and that is just one quote, but some people overspend times and letters and words trying to sell ideas, and the moment you do this, you lost your client's attention, you lost everything, because the client is not hearing you, it's just reading some stuff like you're doing right now, that you're not listening to me, but you're reading this paragraph. And this is very important, especially for those who were asking me, how do I sell ideas, or how do I get ideas to sell, and what do I do if the client doesn't like the idea? The problem when you sell an idea is that you are selling a problem to the client. That's why you need to get everything covered when presenting to client, because as the client, I was saying, is thinking about selling more cars. The client is thinking about Q2 and Q3 and Q4 and their sales. Client is thinking about that. So if you sell an idea, you need to get everything covered when presenting to client. I mean, in terms of budget, in terms of time of duration, in terms of type of execution, in terms of everything. When you really like an idea and you're going to present to a client, you need to have everything covered, so the client can't say you no, right? Imagine if I sell an idea to a client, okay, look, there's an app, you can order food, this is my idea. Okay, how are you going to do it? Okay, and the problem is that you get a second, you need a second meeting to tell your client how to do it. And after that, you need a third meeting to say, okay, we're going to do it. And that way, you're going to lose track of the idea, you're going to lose track of the attention, and maybe 2 months later, or 2 weeks later, or 3 weeks later, or 1 more later, client don't like the idea because he was watching the idea like for 4 meetings in a row, and you're not going over. So avoid that second meeting, avoid that third meeting, that fourth meeting, and just try to get everything covered. If you really, really, really like an idea, you want to sell it, okay, you need to present the idea and sell the client, okay, we're going to do this and this and this and this. You know what helps me a lot is not written here in the presentation, but what we do with our creatives is to do lists. It's a very kind of obvious advice that I give you, but doing lists of small objectives on get the idea done is really helpful. So you can check you can do a checklist, and if you present that checklist to the client says, okay, and you can focus, instead of thinking about an idea like this, you can focus on just a small checklist. Okay, and a checklist could be like, I don't know, write an email to the guy that does the apps. Okay, maybe that's a checklist. Maybe it's not a huge step on becoming your idea reality, but you need to write that email at some point. And the problem with so many creatives and so many groups is that we spend meetings and a lot of stuff. Okay, how are we going to do this? Blah, blah, blah. You just need to do a roadmap who you can do a check to get everything done. So when you present an idea, you need to get everything covered so the client doesn't worry about it. So you're the only one who get covered. So now the client got the whole picture and the whole roadmap on how the idea is getting done. So it will help you to sell an idea. Okay?
Okay.
Good. And when presenting an idea, be careful and be very conscious about what is non-negotiable in your idea. What I mean, and you may leave this, especially the ones who work in an agency.
Yeah.
When you have an idea, your client wants to have input on it, and luckily we sort it out. Then the director wants to get an input on it, and then the photographer that is going to help you with the photographs is want his input on it. Okay, be able to let brings, because client of course needs to get input on it, planners need to get input on it, directors need to get input. I mean, everyone wants to get an input on your idea, but you need to learn where is the line on what it is negotiable and what is non-negotiable, and you need to be able to allow to some the other people to play on that area, because your client wants to be part of your idea. And if your client wants it blue, you present it red, and your client wants it blue, and it doesn't change the main objective of idea, and if it doesn't change the main idea, don't be so stubborn on saying, no, I presented red. If it's okay, just say to the client, okay, yeah, you're right, let's make it blue. And if it doesn't change your idea, you need to be capable, because that's the currency you can do business with the people that wants input in your idea. But on the layer behind, you need to have of what it is not negotiable. You know, we made a joke here. My boss made a joke here. Okay, how the presentation goes, and he says, okay, they want King Kong but with no gorilla. So you know, you kind of get an idea. Okay, King Kong is King Kong. Yeah, you can do it you cannot be in New York, maybe it can be in Singapore, but you need a gorilla, you need a King Kong, right? So that's something that you need to be focused on, and what details are not negotiable in your idea, and especially what it is negotiable in your idea, because with this is what lets you talk with the client. Okay, maybe I want a female voiceover. That changed the idea? No, it doesn't change the idea. Okay, and you let your client's ideas to input and to build your idea. I don't know if I'm clear.
Yes, you're clear. And then another question: how to avoid being cold feet during presentation, especially as junior creative. But unfortunately, we only have like 10 minutes left, Carlos, from our session. But
Good.
this is a question from Indra.
So let's jump quick on the presentation, and after that, you want me to answer the question, or do you want to do it differently?
Yeah, let's do that.
Good. So some quick tips on doing cases. I'm putting this gif of the guy, of the girl, sorry, like screaming, because I know this is really tough for many creatives. This is really tough. And first one, and is something you need to have clear, is a good case is not going to save a bad idea. Before doing a video case, you need to have a good idea, because a good case is not going to save a bad idea. That doesn't happen. Before doing a video case, you need to have a good idea. So the second one is very important. And remember the list and the checklist I was saying, you need to plan. What you don't plan, you don't do. And the problem with some creatives are building video cases is that they only worry about the process only when they're doing the video case. So the lack of some shots, the lack of some testimonies, lack of a lot of stuff that, oh, we should have done that. Oh, yeah, we should have done that. Oh, yeah, we should have done that. You don't need to worry at that end. As you roll out your campaign, as you publish your campaign, you need to have maybe 1 or 2 people on the team that is tracking everything. They're tracking conversations and tracking everything. They're taking screenshots of tweets. They're bad, they're good. Even if you're not using them after that, they need to keep on track whatever is going to with your campaign. Because otherwise you're going to be stuck trying to build a video case on something that you start to look for Google, and maybe you don't find information that you had before. So you need to have a specific people on the team tracking stuff. And planning, you need, before to write the video case and before to film it, you need to write what you need. Okay, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this. And after that, yes, you're going to film, and this is what I was telling you, right before to film. Before to film, you need to write it down, what specific pieces, what you imagine, okay, we need a testimony like this, like this, like this, and you list it again, and after that, you film it. Because the problem is that people do it the opposite way many times, and you just go away and film and get some testimonies, and after that, you have like, oh, we should have done this, oh, we should have this, and this, and this, and this, and you have a no good video case. And this
to all the creatives in my team that watching this, please write that down. Right before film and plan your study cases.
And this is very unpopular, but copy. What I mean copy? I mean, if you want to build a case that win awards, you need to watch the cases that won awards, and you need to understand how they tell the stories, how they manage the problems. Okay, they get the peer at the beginning. Okay, they peer, and you need to copy that structure because you need to learn how to do it. I'm not saying copy the idea, just copy the storytelling, and that is okay. That is good. I mean, nobody will care if you. I mean, nobody would say, okay, this video case is exactly the same. Don't worry. If you like a video case, you think that a video case is very, very well told, you just copy that and try to steal some details from your own video case. And this is very important. This is one of the best lessons I've ever received in my career. Is from Rob Riley. Rob Riley is the worldwide creative head of McCann World Group, and he's never get too high because of the awards and never get too low because of the awards. Awards are still important, and I know it's important for creatives, and I know it's important especially for young creatives, and I know it's important for us senior creatives to find the best talent out there, to look what is going on in advertising in the world, but never get too high because of it. Maybe you can win tons of awards, and maybe you are a shitty person, so you not need to get high because of the awards, because that happens a lot. That, okay, yeah, you won 20 awards this year, 20 Lions this year, and you are now the master of the universe. That's not the case, because nobody cares about the awards other than you and your team and your industry. So you can never get too high because of the awards. And they also work the opposite way. If you don't win an award, who cares? Nobody cares. Just do work because you want it out there, and because you want it to do cool, and that's it. I don't know if I'm clear on this, but this is very, very, very important. Sometimes my creatives just kill themselves because, I didn't win an award in this festival. Who cares? I mean, it's an award is just the opinion of 5 guys or 5 ladies just discussing in the room, and it's so subjective that who cares if it's good or if it's bad. I remember when we came up with the Pope idea, many people from other agencies hate it, and who cares? I mean, nobody cares. I mean, it didn't win at Cannes. Who cares if it didn't win at Cannes? It's just, let's do it, and that's it. And never compare the amount of awards you have with your success or your failure. That has nothing to do with that. Okay, if you win an award, celebrate, publish on social media, get drunk with your team, because it's also good that sometimes tell you on your back, say, yeah, you're doing good. That's something your ego, that manage your frustration. Okay, yeah, let's do it, but never get too high and never get too low, because this is important, but it's not that relevant, and it's just a small percentage of our work.
Totally, Carlos. So this is what's usually happening, especially in Indonesian creative. Usually the junior ones, everyone wants to win award really bad, but the thing is they just don't know how. And then when there are two types. The other one is the one that eventually succeeded and winning some awards, and then suddenly they being too high about it. And the other one is they got really discouraged after trying but not getting any. Carlos here, guys, is someone who wins award like I don't know, like doing exercise, maybe someone who who win who make pencils seems easy to get. But what I know from
That's
him,
not true.
what I know from
That's
him,
not true.
he's never being someone that I don't know. I mean, since the beginning I know him, he's already that far, already won so many awards, but the way he speaks to people, treat people, answer to people is really the opposite. He's really humble. He opens up to, like, for example, Inko asks for opinion. He's willing to send uh, works or thinking to his email. I think that's marvelous. I think it's better to be a useful human being than someone who's award-winning kind of person, right?
It's better. It's way better. As I was saying at the beginning of the session, I don't hire creatives because of their awards or because whatever. I just hire creatives because of their
kindness and good heart and
they're good manners, and they're good people, and they're willing to do good work. I mean, I prefer younger creatives with spirit, with energy, and willing to do stuff than if you win an award. I mean, I don't care. I mean, it's better to people with good energy. Of course, that they want to do good work. Yeah. Of course, but yeah, that this is more important than the amount of awards that you have. Good. So I guess we don't have time to watch this video case. I'm going to jump to this. And this is very related to one of the questions and one of the topics that we already saw. And as we have the power to create ideas, the power to do stuff, we have the power to sell stuff, we need to be ethical and we need to be responsible. We need to think about society. We have a huge responsibility of doing this, because as we're the creative minds that can think about solutions, we need to be the ones that actually come up with those solutions. Because if you see the startups or the foundations, everyone is coming up with the solution. So we need to add some value to what we are really doing, apart from selling bicycles, or apart from selling cars, or apart from selling yogurts or tobacco or whatever brands you manage. We need to be focused on this, and is thinking about society and work it with ethics, and try to encourage our clients to also do it with ethics and to be responsible with the environment, with the people we're working, and with the society. We're very lucky that we have done so many social work. Unfortunately, we don't have the time to show it here.
I think it's okay. One more video, it's fine, I think.
Good. So I'm going to show you a very special video for me. It's not award winning, but we're very close to work with the government on the peace agreement. As you may know, some of you may know, there was a conflict here in Colombia with the guerrilla and the government, like for almost 52 years. It's one of the oldest conflicts in the world. And 3 years ago, we signed the peace process. And what we did basically is we needed to create a campaign to people to sign actually the peace agreement to get valid. So basically what we did is we filmed real shots of what is happening in the country when the conflict finished. So it's military going back home, guerrilla fighters going back home, people in the rural areas going back their homes because they were dispatched. So this is the piece we did to make people sign for peace.
Trabajamos como dos locomotoras a todo vapor y olvidamos que el amor es más fuerte que el dolor que envenena la razón. Somos víctimas así de nuestra propia tonta creación y olvidamos que el amor es más fuerte que el dolor de una llaga en tu interior. Dos hermanos ya no se deben pegar y es momento de recapacitar. Es tiempo de cambiar. It's time to change. Es tiempo de cambiar. It's time to change. Es tiempo de saber pedir perdón. Es tiempo de cambiar en la mente de todos el odio por amor. It's time to change. Es tiempo de cambiar en la mente de todos el odio por amor. It's time to change. It's time to change. El odio por amor. It's time. Es tiempo de cambiar en la mente de todos el odio por amor. El odio por amor.
There's my daughter's name there, Paz. Peace. My daughter's name is Paz.
But this is another stuff that I want to share with you today, that treat your last project like it was your first one, and you need to be like hunger and with the same spirit and with the same energy as you started with within this business. And when you started to study advertising, this is something very difficult, and all as you get older and as you get more senior, you get more frustrated and worry about the business and the numbers and the cues and whatever stuff. But you need to get some room on your head to not only focus on that and the future of the industry. And as I started the presentation, okay, what is going to be the next chapter of this industry? You, of course, you need to be worried about that, but not all the energy in your head needs to be worried about that, but instead to do some good work to put on there. Because, oh, sorry. And this is the last one. Ignore everything I just said, because this is just my personal advice. This is not some academic lecture. This is not the truth in stone. It's just what have worked for me so far, and I hope that it works for you. Some of the stuff I say, I hope you might find interesting, because at the end of the day, don't worry. You don't need to worry about winning an award. You don't need to worry about be the best creative out there. You just need to put out there some stuff that people, just regular people, either it is a jury award, or there is your mom, or there is your nephew, or whatever. Well, that's so cool that what those guys are doing, and just do stuff to make people and to make your team and to make you, okay, yeah, that's cool. I'm going to share it on social media and all of that stuff. Thank you very much. I think that's all for now. Sorry for being so late. I think it was 9:30, 9:44 already. Hopefully we don't lose so many people.
Thank you so much, Carlos, for
there's one question. How to avoid being cold feet, especially as a junior creative? Just a quick answer. Just do it, man. There's no other way to do it. You don't need practice. You don't need nothing. You just need to do it. Do it and do it and do it and do it and do it. Look, I'm the chief creative officer of the office, and I still get nervous before clients presentation, and I still get nervous, and I still and I being some cold feet sometimes when I present pitches on everything. You just need to do it and go all the way, and who cares?
Yes,
Thank you
that's
very
right.
much.
Thank you so much, Carlos, and thank you so much, guys, for staying and then also taking some good advices from Carlos here. Everybody say thanks, Carlos. I think everybody that adores you will adore you even more, knowing the personality behind that big name. And I hope later on, after the work from home done, someday we can invite you to our office, like open door, and then maybe you visit Indonesia someday and visit us.
Good. Yeah. I mean, I will be glad to go there if you invite me. Hopefully, I'll be there to you soon. Maybe. I guess maybe it's not this year. Hope. Sasa was telling me that things are not good there with this pandemic that is happening right now. So hopefully, all of your families and all of your loved ones are safe. So please stay safe, and hopefully these things gets better, not only there but also here. And thank you very much for inviting me again. And yeah, let's use those creativity to try to change the world and to make the world a little bit of a better place.
And last but not least, don't forget to join us again next week, because we also have another guest, another game changers in not only in the industry but also in Indonesia. We will have our one and only Ibu Susi Pujiastuti next week. So, a former Minister of Fisheries in Indonesia. So, thank you so much, Carlos. I will be with you again through WhatsApp and all. And thank you so much for the time again.
Perfect. Thank you very much for inviting me. And as I was saying, please stay safe and hope to see you soon. Personally.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you very much, everyone. Bye. Please feel free to reach out if you have some questions or whatever you need. Thank you.
Thank you, Carlos. Bye, everyone.